Life is so unfair. I guess I'm just getting on this because I felt the need to vent. About 2.5 years ago, I was told by my employer that despite just testing positive for COVID, I had to get the vaccine because my natural immunity would not count. The most insane thing, but the HR employee confirmed it. And then I got really sick and I had to go on disability. And granted, I'm almost better now. Like for example, this morning I just went on a walk and I'm feeling a bit better. But there are days that I do feel bad, and I just got some blood work back and it shows that I have high like D-dimer levels, meaning that my blood has potential clots in it. And I'm also, I'm still anemic. And then my spike protein levels, I still have spike proteins in my system. But apparently to the government, that doesn't qualify for disability. And it's just so unfair how they forced this fucking experiment on us. And then so many people got sick. The medical community fucking ignores it. People get so sick, and granted, there are people that are much more sick than me. I have made some great recoveries. Thank you to my doctors. But then I get a letter saying, oh, we reviewed your thing and you don't qualify for the Social Security disability thing. And it's like, look, I am starting to work on some social media stuff. I am starting to feel better. But could I go into the office and work a 9 to 5? No fucking way. And it's just, we really got shafted with this. Granted, I went against my gut instinct. I knew that I shouldn't take it. But my employer, when COVID happened, HR took over so many companies. They just went turbo authoritarian, imposed the rules. They said they were following government mandates. They were not. They were going farther. No employer, no government was saying if you got or if you have COVID, the vaccine is better than natural immunity. No one was saying that. And they were saying if you got natural immunity, that you were good to go. Literally, my employer said, your natural immunity doesn't count. You had to be, it wasn't immunized. You had to be registered before 14 days of coming back to the office, or else we can send you home. And I was gonna be out for now 10 days unpaid. I was going for a promotion. And they said I had to get it, or else when I come back, even if my natural immunity, and I was gonna miss 10 days of work because even though I felt pretty much fine, I was asymptomatic, I actually had a cold or sinus infection the week before. So even though I wasn't feeling the symptoms, they said that if I didn't get the jab for those few days, that even if I got it that day, there'd be 3 or 4 days in the office where if someone just came in contact with me, they could send me home unpaid again for another 10 days. Just complete authoritarian bullshit fucking employees. It's not fair, man. It's not fair. I can't believe so many companies did this. Then they fired me. It was Fisher Investments and fucking Miss Wade. I moved out here, states. I moved from Arizona to Texas to work for this company. I was chasing my dream. I was 8th or 9th in the rank to get promoted, and they weren't promoting people that didn't have the vaccine. And so my boss was telling me, Mr. Adams was telling me that if I keep up my track record of how I was doing at the job, I should be eligible for promotion in Q1 of 2022. And this was in August of 21 at the time. And there were people who were getting promoted over other people because they had the vaccine to go to outside. So I was like, well, shit, I need it for this promotion that they told me I'm months away from. I've got this HR employee, Miss Wade, telling me that I have to get it because my natural immunity doesn't count, or else they could send me home another 10 days unpaid. And because I missed those 10 days, I only had 1 or 2 of my sales deals in the month of August 21. So I had to really step it up if I wanted to get my massive bonus. I would still get it, but to get the highest tier of it, as well as the promotion. They were sending people. There was a guy next to me who wasn't on any salary, and He was all commission, and at Fisher they had trailing commissions. And then what happened was some there was some really bad employee who sat next to him who I don't even know if he legit had COVID, but he would call out all the time. And they had to end up firing him because he was just a horrible hire. He called in and said he tested positive for COVID. To my knowledge, he didn't even send a test result. And because he had COVID and was sitting directly next to someone not vaccinated, they sent him home. Even though the other employee had no symptoms at all. No symptoms. 5 days unpaid, can't work, can't do anything. Your calendar gets fucked because you have all these employees or all these appointments. And so for me, I was having a bad month. They sent me home 10 days. I literally was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this bonus. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get promoted when I want. My fiance at the time, like I wanted to essentially like retire her so she could just be a stay-at-home like she wanted to be. And we could start a family. We were going to get married. And so I was like, shit, like I have to do this because they tell me I have to so I can be eligible for the promotion and get this big bonus. And legit got it. I felt fine for the entire like 10 days I was unpaid or sitting at home. And then what happened was starting in like September, so like a month later, because this was like mid-August, I all of a sudden started to get like every weekend when I was going out, because I would always go out with friends and party and stuff, I'd always have like a cold or feel really like kind of sick for like that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then it started to be where the whole work week I was feeling kind of sick until like Thursday, Friday. And then it got to the point where I went out and the next morning I woke up and I got a call from one of my buddies. They were like, hey, we're going to the Cowboys game. And this was, I think, like November 7th or 8th of 2021. And so this is the Cowboys-Broncos game, the game that the Broncos just shat on the Cowboys like a few years ago. And we're going there and we're at Texas Live. And all of a sudden I just like get this really weird shake to my body. And I'm like, oh, it's just anxiety. Like I'm just a little bit hungover. So I had a few beers, doesn't go away. And that was the beginning of it. I just had this really bad like malaise that built and then sinus infections that hurt so bad and they couldn't get rid of it. There was something wrong with my body. So then I started losing weight. I turned green and I was perpetually sick back at that time. And I had so many deals lined up. I had a huge pipeline of stuff. I was really crushing it at the job. And yeah, I lost everything. I literally lost everything. No longer engaged. And when you lose your health, you don't have much else. Granted, I was very blessed, so I do have a bit of savings, but I've had to use some of those savings. And then I get this decision from the government that's saying, oh, yeah, you don't qualify for the rules of this. It's like they don't even recognize people who have a vaccine injury. It's insane. Or even long COVID for that matter. It's like we're just invisible people that they don't want to like admit that they were wrong in pushing this fucking experiment on us. And then we get fucked for it. Now, thank God I did have a separate like disability insurance policy. And even that, they weren't giving me the amount I thought because I submitted a form wrong, I guess, where I literally took a picture of it rather than actually scanning it. But now they righted that, but it's like, look, like, am I able to do maybe a couple hours of like social media stuff a day? Like I'm getting there. Like, yes, I can do that. But there are days like, it was like 2 days ago where I literally slept like all day. Like at 2 or 3 p.m. I slept. Then I woke up the next day at like 4:30, 4:45. Like there are days where my health feels really bad. There's days where my health feels decent. Like I'm at the point where I could go work out. Could I go party? Never. Like I don't think I'm ever gonna party again in my life, even when I do get fully healthy. But it's like I can't put that stress on my body. Even when I get like super like stressed out or like stuff like this, like my health starts going down because it's unfair, man. So I guess I wanted to make this video to rant about things. Life's unfair, but we can't play victim to it. So how I've retrained my mind to look at this is shit happens in your life and you got to be grateful for it. Because when you go through really hard things, it turns you into a stronger person. Like I was definitely a boy before all this happened. Now I would say I am a man. I am mature. I am confident in what I do. I'm confident enough to make videos like this. I used to be so self-conscious with social media and all that stuff, but now it's like, fuck it. Like, when you're literally laying there thinking you're dying, when your friends aren't reaching out to you, you really learn what's important. And there was a study in Australia done that talked about what people, like, if they interviewed people on their deathbed and talked about, like, what's their biggest, like, regret. And it was essentially, there's 5 of them, and I don't know them off the top of my head, but it was like, not saying what they wanted to say, not pursuing what they wanted to pursue, not spending more time with family. So I really learned that those things are important. And I think if I didn't say something or didn't make these videos or, try to get my story out, I'd regret it. Like, people are like, oh, you might say something that, turns Fisher against you. It's like, what? I'm telling the truth. Like, hand on God, I am telling the truth. Like, I was told from a Fisher employee, their HR department, that I had to get the jab, that I had to get registered. And until the 14 days after, if I was in the office for a few days and I came in contact with someone, my natural immunity does not count. And then I find out like a year later when I'm sick, like, oh no, that's your natural immunity would count. And I was like, well, you didn't tell that to Miss Wade in HR. She went fucking turbo against me and my fiance at the time, told us all these crazy rules. She had allegedly fired another employee for walking the wrong way in the office. Because if you remember during the COOF, like most offices when they had some people in, there was like those arrows on the ground and you had to follow those for social distancing. Allegedly, she fired someone for walking the wrong way on that. This is the problem with companies, man. They let the HR come in. HR, they're kids who were losers in high school and probably losers in college, and they get a little bit of power. It's like Reddit moderators. They get a little bit of power and they just abuse it because they're fucking losers. And then here I am, a changed man. Well, now I'm heated. I'm fucking angry, shaking a little bit. And notice how I don't say allegedly for what they told me, because that is the truth, hand on God. And I was wronged. And I don't want to like play victim so much as just I want to vent about what happened to me, because I think anyone who plays victim is a fucking loser. Like, you had shit happen to you, deal with it. Like, so I've turned this into energy and I'm trying to do something with it. And it's motivation. And yes, horrible shit happened to me, but it's on me to get better now, and it's on me to handle it in a positive way. And my way of handling this is by trying to get my story out on social media. So life is unfair. I'm gonna keep making videos like this. We need to speak up. People that have been wronged, we need to speak up. Like, that's the only way shit's gonna change. If everyone sits there quiet and doesn't say anything after seeing the shit that happened in 2020 and after, like, who knows what's gonna happen to the world? Like, you have to stand up. Life's unfair, you have to stand up, and you can't be a victim. What I'm doing is I'm expressing the wrong that happened to me, but I'll never sit there and go, oh, woe is me, oh, woe is me. All right, shit happened to me that is not in my benefit. What's the next move on the chessboard? How can I turn this negative into a positive? So that's what I'm gonna try to figure out. But if you've watched this, please share, like. It'll probably get to a point where I have like literally like a 10 to 12 page written up like story. I might just get on and read that whole thing at some point, because I was wronged and we need to stand up for what's right. And I'm not just gonna I'm not just gonna roll over and take it. Like, I was wronged and I'm turning that negative into a positive. So if you watch this far, please like, share, subscribe. I really appreciate you, and thank you so much.